lack of energy, and fear of trade-offs. What is limited time? Basically, if I'm already studying at SRCC or some other DU college or just some other college, I'm already preparing for exams. I'm already preparing for internships. I'm doing multiple research paper, case competitions, inter-college competitions. I have limited time. I can't now go on and pursue a side hobby. There is, of course, lack of energy. I'm getting less than 6 hours to sleep. Do you really think that I have the mental bandwidth to now go on and follow something on the side? And lastly, there is trade-off. 2 hours of dance practice is equivalent to 2 hours that I take away from my CAT preparation. And maybe that will become the reason why I will lose that 1 percentile, which will differentiate whether I end up at IIM Ahmedabad or whether I end up at IIM Lucknow. That 1 percentile, maybe the reason I lose it is because I follow my passion during my college days. And believe me, I faced all these fears, all of them. When I joined SRCC, I was from a tier 2 state. I was from a tier 2 city. And therefore, I didn't have enough CV points. I didn't have inter-college competitions. I didn't have inter-school championship. I was not a school captain. I was just a good academic student who scored enough percentage in 12 to land SRCC. And therefore, when I showed my CV to my seniors, they told me, no, this won't work. You need to either secure an institute rank, you need to do multiple internships, you need to do case competitions and win them if you want consulting shortlist, and so on and so forth. And therefore, I just continued to struggle in my student life without giving any two thoughts to what is my passion, what do I really want to do. I'm 19-year-old, is there something I really want to pursue which is not related to placements? And I just continued to focus on the academic and professional rigor. Until one day, when I was going for CAT coaching, and I took a metro at GTP Nagar, and I heard few girls they were talking about Miss India pageant. And I thought to myself, am I still passionate about modeling? I am in the fashion capital of India. I always had a childhood dream to become a well-known face in the fashion industry. What is stopping me? Am I passionate about it? And my heart leaped forward. It said yes. And therefore, I decided that day that whatever happens, whatever the trade-off might be, whatever fears I have, I'm going to go and at least apply to this pageant and give it a shot. And so it all started. I went to Miss India Elite, and by chance, by fluke, by whatever, I won it. And at that time, I was on 9 Sky. I thought, Lakme Fashion Week, here I come. What's next? I'm going to work for Sabyasachi. But nothing in life comes that easy, believe me. Even modeling requires lots of effort. You have to groom yourself, you have to be physically fit, you have to go to ramp walk sessions, and then audition for all these shows, photo shoots, and so on and so forth. This required a lot of time. And I was already, struggling with CAT preparation. I was struggling with my undergraduate internships. And I just felt like, I don't know if I can really do it or not. And therefore, I think I somehow scratched my strategy consultant brain, though I was not a strategy consultant then. But I came up with a framework like every strategy consultant does. And that framework is focused on answering 2 types of questions. This was from my Miss India Elite days. So this is my very simple 4 parts framework which answers 2 questions. What changes would I need in my lifestyle to follow my passion? And how will I make these changes? Now the 4 blocks that I'm going to talk about are very important and they're quite practical. Like each of you can follow this and it will really help you get clarity in terms of what activities you need to do next. Number 1 is non-negotiables. These are the activities that, irrespective of my passion, I need to do in my life. For example, for me, non-negotiables were giving 10 hours to college and CAT prep every weekday. and it was a non-negotiable. I have to give it if I want a good percentile and if I want a good standing in SRCC. Then we have non-value added activities. Now, non-value added activities are not just something which is not some, for example, playing with your dog is not a non-value added activity because it gives you happiness. Non-value added activity is it neither gives you a sense of self-growth nor happiness, nor does it lead to any personal life emotional satisfaction. For example, a non-value add activity would be being a dormant member of 10 college societies. Neither is it a differentiating CV point, neither it is giving to your self-growth. So why are you even doing that? Just because others are doing it? Am I part of the flock and being a dormant member of 10 societies in the college just because I think I can write 10 points in my CV but none of them would really be a spike? So that's a non-value add activity. Another type of non-value add activity can actually be applying for example, if you're clear that you want to go into finance, then applying for consulting inter-college case competitions is a non-value add activity. Because if you want to do finance, why are you doing consulting case competitions? Again, just because someone who is sitting next to you in the college is doing it, and therefore you are feeling FOMO and going and doing extra, which is not even adding to your overall end goal. So those are all non-value added activities. Number 3 is new essentials. For me, this was 1 hour of kickboxing every day to stay fit, 2 hours of weekend travel for auditions. For modeling, it was 30 minutes of self-grooming classes every day in order to prepare myself to walk on the ramp, and so on and so forth. And it's very easy to ensure that in my 24 hours in a day, my non-negotiables are the constraints which are defined. What I do is I shift away from non-value added activities and I replace them with my new essentials. I was a part of our Fest core team and I realized I actually was not excited about it. I was not organizing any event. I decided to move my name away from all those societies, and I rather started focusing on modeling during that phase. Similarly, I was doing a finance internship and I decided finance is something that I don't want to pursue. So halfway through the internship, I actually decided I don't want to give it more time. Rather, I would travel to Mumbai during that time and apply for Lakme Fashion Week. So I know these are trade-offs, but you have to do it when you follow your passion. And lastly, inner impulse. Inner impulse is clarity of thought. It is the nirvana which you want from your passion. For example, for me, photo shoots never was my inner impulse. I don't want to stand in front of the camera, pose 10 different ways in 100 dresses and get my picture clicked. It was always ramp walk, which really made me super excited. I wanted to go and have cameras flashing in designer dresses, stage and go back home. So my inner impulse was the nirvana which I wanted from my passion, which made me focus on things which were important rather than again in my passion swimming and drifting across a large ocean. So this was the 4-part framework that I developed and it really helped me. I mean, oh God, my once I did this, I was doing very well in modeling. I did coveted India Couture Week, I did Lakme Fashion Week, I worked for Manish Malhotra, Sabyasachi, Tarun Thalyani. I worked with multiple actors and actresses, and it was awesome. Like, I really felt very well. And at the same time, I was not struggling with my CAT preparation. I was a 5th ranker in SRCC. I wanted to do consulting, and I was able to secure good positions in case competitions. So even my CV was going well. And I was just focusing on the right things. And it all felt right. I actually continued to do it till my first year of joining management consulting. So till my first year in MBB, I continued to focus on my 4-part framework. Of course, everything changed, right? If I talk about my new essentials, it was no more that I want to do one
modeling gig per week. It was one modeling gig per month because that's how much I was able to do. My constraints were different, which means my non-negotiables were different. I have to give 12 to 16 hours to consulting work every day. So my non-negotiables changed. But despite all of this, I continued to go back and ask myself, am I passionate for modeling? Until I heard the answer is yes, I continued to somehow figure it out till my passion itself changed. So 1 year into consulting, I realized I've done enough of modeling. I mean, there are 20 big designers in India. Once you've worked for all of them, you actually kind of get bored. And I realized that my passion was evolving towards content creation. And that's when I started focusing on Instagram, on LinkedIn, on YouTube, doing some podcast. And therefore, I shifted away from my modeling world to my content creation world. And while these were adjacent passions, it helped me realize that as our passion evolves, the 4 part framework, it requires a lot of new activities added to it. And I'll talk about those because it's important. Number one is the non-negotiables. They become really constrained. Like for example, 16 hours of consulting work, 7 hours of sleep really does not leave much time for fitness or content creation or anything. So the non-negotiables became extremely tight. The second thing that I realized was my non-value ads are not that easy to spot anymore. Like I have to do really good self introspection. For example, my non negotiable is to not chase a crazy promotion target. And that's a non negotiable for me. What do I mean by that? Like, how do I relate non negotiable to non value add? Look, when I think that I need promotion in 6 months versus the average 9 months it takes to get promoted, I will shift away from 16 hours of work to 18 hours of work. I will shift away from no work on weekends to at least 3 4 hours of work on weekends. I will shift away from 7 hours of sleep to maybe I'm okay with 5 6 hours of sleep. And that thing, the early 3 months of promotion, was not giving me any satisfaction other than maybe like a day of bragging rights in front of my corporate friends. So I don't want it. It became a non value add for me. So for me, a non value add was not chasing a crazy promotion target, rather ensuring that I'm developing in my role as per my career trajectory, but at my own ease. And therefore, I had those extra hours. For example, the 1 hour extra that I would spend in order to get a 6 month versus 9 month promotion became a non value add, which I know on the paper sounds crazy. But when you look at the large scheme of things, when you think about burning out, when you think about not being satisfied, when you think about having like greater happiness by doing something which you want, you will realize that those 3 months really they do not matter. So non-value added activities require a lot of introspection. For me, it worked that way. Maybe for someone else it won't, but for me it was a non-value add. The third thing I realized is there are interlinkages that I started spotting between my passion and my profession. For example, I started doing a lot of projects which are related to branding and sales because I wanted to understand how to build a very good personal brand, which then in turn would help me in content creation. So I started taking branding related projects. The second thing that I did was I asked for European clientele because then I can travel and on the weekends I can build my content related to travel and on the weekdays I can focus on consulting. So none of these opportunities came my way. I asked for these opportunities and I was able to ask for very specific opportunities because I spotted the interlinkages between my passion and profession. So this was the fifth block which I added to the framework in order to complete it and make it more holistic. And believe me, it's been now almost 4 years of content creation. It's been going pretty well. In the last 3 months, I've had almost 75 million views or clicks. And when I was designated as an engagement manager, I was one of the youngest engagement manager during my MBB journey when I was designated. So it actually all pans out and it's becoming more and more difficult, like very difficult. I'm an expecting mother to be, I'm thinking of entrepreneurial ventures. And that all has been taking a lot of effort and energy. So it's becoming more and more difficult. But I keep asking myself, am I passionate about content creation? Until I hear the answer yes, I'm going to somehow make it work. And this is the practical way of making it work. It can work for you, it worked for me. I know it worked for a bunch of my friends with whom I've had conversation over a glass of drink. So, as an ending to today's session, I want each of you to ask yourself 3 questions. Am I passionate about a project that I wanted to pursue at some point in my life? Am I still passionate about it or has the passion changed? And third, if I'm still passionate about it, what will it take for me to pursue the passion? And what is the plan for my next 3 months in order to pursue it? So go ahead, take balance in your own hands, create your own balance, and chase your passion. Thank you.